Yeah, folks, you might have heard I'm making a video game. I mentioned one video here earlier on the channel. It's been all over my Twitter and my main channel, but I realized I haven't actually sat down and made a video for this Hearthstone channel and given Hearthstone players the full story and the full context on what this game's all about. But right now it's called Project SkyShard, and it's a fantasy city building PvP auto battler. So basically you're literally just going to build a little city full of different magical buildings and defenses and weapons on a floating island in the sky, and you're going to battle other people's little cities that they've built. Auto battlers as a genre, it's really fun. You will all know Hearthstone Battlegrounds, I'm sure. This game shares a lot of DNA with Backpack Battles is another one that was a really popular indie auto battler, much like our game. The Bazaar has been a big hit. Teamfight Tactics, of course, is a staple in the genre as well. But we're in that vein of game, not a card game, but I think still a lot of familiar strategic elements that you'll enjoy as a Hearthstone player. And you can actually just go try it right now. You don't have to sit here and listen to me or watch this video. We have a playable demo on Steam right now. It's not even really a demo, it's just the whole game as it exists today. So you can go hit the links down in the description or pinned comment down there and just download it right now and try it. There's no restrictions. We're just looking for feedback, looking to iterate, make the game better as fast as we can. It's been on Steam now for about 12 days, I think. We've had over 5,000 people download it. We still have like 400 people a day playing right now, which is insane. And we're getting tons of feedback, making tons of improvements on Steam. You'll see all the patch notes already as we iterate and make improvements. And when I say we, by the way, I should acknowledge my key partner in this venture, actually way more important than me, is Ben. Many of you will actually know from the Hearthstone world. It's Ben321, fellow YouTuber who was learning to make games recently because I think YouTube just wasn't super satisfying for him. He wanted to get better at something and learn something, and started making games. And I was working on another game in the background. We kind of started talking and teamed up, and that was like 4 or 5 months ago, and now we already have a totally playable game that, like, I don't know, 5,000 people have downloaded and 500 people a day or whatever. I think it's 400 people a day right now are playing. And that's insane. We did that in 5 months, and it's going really well. We're getting great feedback. People are having a lot of fun. Some of you are playing an ungodly amount of time, like just hours and hours a day, myself included. I am very addicted to our game. So, just wanted to share that and get more people playing, get more feedback, keep making it better, faster and faster. I'm going to go through a run in this video so you can just see the whole game in action. I'll break down everything if you haven't taken the time to watch it just yet. But we just wanted to see if you can make a game the right way these days. Like, keep it really small, keep it really low budget, but focus on gameplay and making it fun and being like quick and fast and responsive and engaged with the community. And not having, microtransactions, not having crypto, not having AI, all these things these days that feel like they pull games in the wrong directions for the wrong reasons. Can you just make a game? We're going to sell it for like 12 bucks once we enter early access, maybe 15 bucks for the full release. Right now, though, you can just play it for free to, help us make it better and just have some fun for free. Check it out, whether you like it or not. We certainly appreciate any wish list you can offer. Wish lists go a really long way for indie games on Steam. So even if you don't have the time or the computer to play it just now, dropping a wish list would still be greatly appreciated as we embark on this fun little endeavor to hopefully make something really cool that's really affordable and just doing things the right way for once. Yeah, come join our Discord too. There's like literally so many people already just sharing like their builds in the game, sharing little cheat sheets. We've got people making tier lists. Like, we've already got this really awesome engaged little community, people making videos. Like, it's really fun already. I'm really, really proud of where we're at. I think the game's actually in a pretty great spot even at this stage, and it's just going to keep getting better, and we're going to keep adding more stuff. We're patching like crazy, as you'll see on Steam. We have patches coming out at first like every day, now every couple days. Ben's doing a nice little code rework right now to make things future-proofed and scalable for later. So yeah, it's just like I'm kind of here to finally make a video on this channel because I realized I hadn't, but also just to share the good news. Like, it's been going exceedingly well. We're so pumped with where we're at and pretty proud of where the game is at too, frankly, at this stage. So check it out. drop some feedback, share your thoughts, first reactions. All of it's valuable to us. This is our first game, so you know, we're just trying to get as good as we can as quickly as we can. But for now, I thought I would just show you the game and like go through a run and explain how it works, so that, you know, if you hop in, you're ready to go, and we'll be beating people and climbing our leaderboard in absolutely no time. So let's go ahead and hop into a full run of Project SkyShard. All right, so here is actually the menu screen I thought I'd show you first. This is kind of fun. You can see people's islands and builds they've built. These are like real players' islands floating by. You get a little preview, but I wanted to just tell you, like, number one, nothing is finished, of course, right? Like, this is not what the menu is going to look like. This is not what the logo is going to look like. You'll see lots of temporary hand-drawn art that been made in Microsoft Paint, but you'll see it mixed in with real art as well. So, you know, like this tree is real art. This is, you know, what a tree is really going to look like. The shrub is real. This fun little botanist unit is real. This is not real. This is MS Paint. So yeah, this is not real. This beautiful tower, that's real. This beautiful building, that's real. This beautiful mill, that's real. This tree is not real. So just be warned, it's a mix right now of finished and unfinished assets, but that's certainly charming, and you know, just wanted to keep that in mind. But music also, we're gonna have some more music. You're gonna hear one song throughout this video, but we've already got new music done. It literally will be in the next patch for the shop phase and so on. So this is what it looks like when you hop into a run in Project SkyShard. You see here, this is your SkyShard. This is where you're going to be building your town. You got some stuff up here telling you this is the number of rounds you have in a run, up to 16. You got 20 health. After combat, you'll take 1 damage for every remaining enemy unit, but a max of 5. So you can, you know, fully lose 4 times. So sometimes you lose a lot more than that because I only have 1 or 2 things left. You have mana at the start of every round. Mana is what you're going to use to buy things in these shops over here. And we have trophies. That's how many times you've won a fight against opponent out of 16 rounds. And each trophy is going to help you increase your rating difference for our ranked leaderboard. So shops here, you've got 5 different shops, each at a different cost. We let you buy the big stuff right away. You can buy a big 5 cost unit. You don't have to like level up or whatever. We wanted to have the fun stuff right up front. You know, a lot of like key weapons, for instance, you're gonna need weapons in this game, are going to be more expensive. We want to have you getting those early. This is a weapon shop specifically where you can grab a weapon. This is always going to be available on your first buy of any given run to make sure you have a weapon early. But if you want, you can choose a bunch of small stuff. Like right now we could buy 8 1-cost things and have 8 units, or, you know, a couple big things and only have a couple big units. It's going to, you know, vary by strategy. You'll note each shop also currently has a different icon. These are going to change every time we make a purchase. But there are factions in the game. There's like a magic faction for this magic hat. There's an ancient faction for this this evil ruins. There's a tinker faction for this gear, and this is a big random shop that can have a mix of anything and everything. And this is a weapon shop, which we're gonna buy. So you can see we get a choice of 3 weapons here. Again, finished art and unfinished art. But you can see each of these weapons has a different faction. This is magic and nature and ancient. That kind of changes the tags you see there, but also the color of the border and so on will match. Now, you can go ahead and buy a bunch of magic stuff and try to build a little magic town or a nature town or an ancient town, but I'll warn you now, that's not always the best thing to do. In fact, it's usually not. You usually kind of want to mix and have little cross synergies and you know, cross faction builds that do different things. You almost need to think more about unit to unit interactions more so than just purely faction interactions, although there's the mix of both for sure to keep in mind, and some of them will kind of softly synergize if not specifically. So we're going to go ahead and buy this stone gorgon. You don't need to worry about reading every unit's text right now. I'll basically explain the ones we buy to kind of give you an introduction. This is a little weapon that's going to attack and deal 90 damage at a speed of 1.8 seconds, as you can see there on the tooltip. It's also going to stun enemy units as well when it does. So stuns are going to basically stop their cooldowns from accelerating. That 1.8 speed is indicative of the cooldown and so on. So you see we made that purchase and now we get some new shops. We lost our 5 shop because we only have 4 mana left. So now we have to buy something a little bit cheaper. These are the nature units. These are going to be town units. You'll note each unit has multiple tags here that kind of fit into a tier, a faction, a type, and sort of a utility. I don't actually know what we even call those words, but here, type, role. So you have like utility, offense, defense, town, production, weapon, structure. The factions there, we talked about nature and so on, and of course the tier. That's currently saying rarity, but it's going to say tier very soon. So, you know, we'll just buy another expensive unit here to get like a big defense unit, like this mushroom, for instance. As you can see here, it's a defense there on the right. So we have both a weapon and a defense. Generally speaking, you're going to want your weapons in the back so they last as long as possible. You're going to want your defense stuff here in the front so that it's blocking enemy attacks, because as we go into a combat here, you're going to see weapons target the closest thing to them. Opponent has this weapon and a little bamboo forest. We have our weapon and our little mushroom. I think we're going to lose this fight, for the record. This thing just does a little more damage early than ours, and the bamboo is a little more annoying, so we're going to lose here. But that's you know, the first fight. Very simple and boring. As you can imagine, when there's 100 units on board, it's gonna look a lot different. Let's go ahead and take this production shop up next. This is a pretty good one. This gives us some this in particular, Geronimo's warehouse is nice. After combat, that's going to generate a unit for us, so it's kind of a little value generator. Not a lot of tempo here, but definitely some good value on this one. Here, let's go ahead and take a cheap shop. A cheap random shop here. Ooh, the post office. Yeah, I like the post office. This one sends little enchantments around to our units every 3.4 seconds. Here, this is a structure shop. Yeah, let's take a structure shop. Here we can take a little shrub. This is a nice another defense unit. It gains health for each enemy weapon. And finally, with our last choice there, we'll take some trees. Yes, these are another nice defense unit when damaged. Adjacent nature units gain 10 health, and when you buy a tree, you get a copy, so you can build out a nice little forest here. So basically, we can sort of do this, maybe put these all together here, make ourselves a nice little defensive forest. You can zoom in if you want to look at the pretty art anytime. Bada boom, or the funny MS Paint art as well. Bada boom. Beautiful statue here whose eyes will open when she's ready to attack. And yeah, let's find an opponent. I think we might lose again since we only have one weapon here. Oh no, we're definitely gonna win. This is a weapon that's only good later in the game, so we're going to dominate them. Although they do have these little toy store guys. Is that gonna be enough? No way. No way that's enough. They're gonna die. They kill themselves automatically, so we'll for sure win. Great stuff. Cool. Good fight there. You can see the enchantments that got equipped here based on our post office. We got a firepower enchantment, gain 10% damage at the start of combat. This got a little shield enchantment, take 20% less damage from explosive, pierce, and stunning weapons, which we haven't talked about much, but weapons have different damage types in some cases that do different things, like stuns. Explosive has an AoE around it, and pierce goes through stuff. So keep that in mind, although I don't want to get too in the weeds on everything just yet. We got a little unit for free from our Geronimo's warehouse, the jump starter. This is just going to trigger the thing below it at the cost of some health. Might not really be worth it right now, but that can certainly have some big synergies later. Here, let's take a fairly big defense unit at 4. Ooh, we got a force field or a prismatic mirror, or maybe the voodoo totem. Tough choice. Voodoo totem's not as good independently, but has some powerful synergies. I'd say the force field for now is the most generally good. This gains health when an enemy weapon attacks, so it can sometimes get a little extra health if you put it in the back behind your other defense units. Here we'll take a Novus unit. Novus is kind of the elven faction that has some fancy, you can see here, these are I don't know, fancy sciencey buildings. Sometimes dealing with rainbows and science and space and just fancy gold, I don't know. Kind of like Protoss meets elves was my vibe when I was designing the flavor for the Novus elven units who rely on science and stuff. Symbolator here though is a good weapon. People have been calling this the bug because it does kind of look bug-like, I guess. I get it, yeah. This one's gonna get extra damage for all the different tags that we have. So those tags like weapon and offense and Novus and the rarity. And if you hit spacebar at any time, you can actually view those tags. So, we don't have any magic right now, but we have everything else. So this is going to be actually gaining quite a bit of damage. It starts at 6, but it's gaining +4 15 times, as you can see here. So actually going to be putting out a lot of damage. And this is one of our better weapons right now, I think, too. It's got some cool synergies we can explore. Doesn't necessarily mean we're going to win all these fights just yet, but we're getting into a decent spot. I think we are going to win this fight, by the way. More defense, probably better weapons at this stage. Some good stuns via our Stone Gorgon, so it looks like we're in a pretty great spot. Yep, good fight. 3 wins already, I think, or do we only have 2? We got the bathhouse for free from our warehouse. Bathhouse, this one makes our town units a little bit faster, but only once we've entered fatigue, which we haven't entered fatigue yet, but we can't let fights run forever. So at some point, if the fight's taking too long, this little fatigue wizard's gonna pop up. He's hilarious looking, and he starts damaging stuff with really rapid damage acceleration to end fights. So when we enter that period, this is going to make our town units faster, and the post office is indeed a town unit, as you can see. So basically it's going to go from a speed of 3.4 to half that, or so, what, 1.7 or whatever, to make it twice as fast, which is going to be pretty nice indeed. Here we're seeing a transmute shop. We don't have the option to sell always. You can't always sell. We wanted you to have a town. We don't want you to just be selling stuff constantly and like trying to find the perfect stuff. We wanted you to assemble a town. So we're limiting sales. You can only sell certain times, but you can pick the transient option here to sell 3 things if you want. I actually don't think it's bad for us right now, because we could sell the bathhouse, the jump starter, and maybe one of our trees to get some decent mana return here. And as you can see, you can't go above 8. That's going to make us a little stronger, so we'll have better choices, I think, moving forward. So now maybe we take a big magic shop, although Tinker Shop is also pretty good because there are some good items to empower the assemblator. Here we get a supercharger. We don't, but we get another nice weapon, the big laser pointer. There's also the unstable Tesla coil, both Tinker units, as we know, but I'm going to take the laser pointer for now. Let's go for another big shop. We have a lot of mana to spend here. Ooh, Eternal Bonfire. This is one of our most OP items right now, I think. It's really good. It when an adjacent unit triggers, like it attacks or it goes off, it's when its speed is resolved, basically. A random adjacent unit triggers 5% faster. So like basically every time this assemblator triggers, its speed's going to increase and it's going to be attacking really fast. This is one of the better combos in the game right now. Probably too good, in fact. Probably has to be nerfed, frankly. I'll have to talk to the developers about that. That's me. That's me and Ben, but that's we'll talk about it. He's probably already on it, to be honest. I will say, like, Ben has handled more of the initial design in particular of the game, you know, coming from his auto battle background. My design influence has been a little bit more of a macro level, kind of philosophical or directional, as opposed to like micro level tinkering with units and numbers and all that stuff. And I handle like creative direction, and I handle the business side, basically, which includes financing the project. Like this is a self-funded project for only 2 devs. There's just 2 of us with some art team and some sound team, music team, which is just 3 more people basically contracted out. Ben is really technically the only full-time person working on this game, although it certainly feels like I am lately. So let's see, we can take another production shop here. I should take a minute. You may notice the different glows around the shops here. Like this has a purple glow and these have a blue glow. That indicates the number of choices you're going to get at this shop. So like the purple, you have 6 choices. Blue, you have 3 choices. If we see a white glow, you're only going to get 1 unit. You don't get a choice at all. It's just random. So that can add an extra layer of strategy here, because like you may say, oh, you know, I like structures better, but I only have 3 choices. It's like maybe I'd rather get something random from 6 choices, because the choices might be better than the narrowing from the shop in particular. So it just is another way for you to make tough decisions sometimes and express some skill, basically. I mean, we're early enough, though, that I think another production shop's pretty good, actually. Another warehouse. We're just going to get so much stuff. Also, these warehouses have enough health at 140 that they kind of serve as a little bit of a defensive wall against the opponent almost. They can kind of slow them down a little bit. This, to me, looks like another win, although these big things here can have a ton of health that we're going to have to push through. But this is going to start attacking really fast. You can see its speed going down and down and down and down, and then it just starts melting the opponent. You got down to 0.32. And you can check the logs at any time to see what's dealing the most damage. Our assemblator here, the bug, certainly dealt the most, although the laser pointer wasn't far behind. The stone gorgon, as you can see, much weaker, but it has that disruption element because of the stuns, so it can still be quite valuable. Structure shop here we're definitely going to take. There's some good stuff. We can take this latching spore. This gives our weapons lifesteal, which actually increases their max health as well. It's not just a heal, as I think it sometimes feels like it should be based on the wording, but for our game that also means max health. So we can actually get like health buffs on this, since it's going to be dealing so much damage later. Novus shop again here for 4. Yeah, let's take this guy. This is a big defense unit that scales based on tags, just like our assemblator, actually. So really helpful. This refractor, by the way, we didn't talk about this. This gives tags to adjacent units based on the most popular tags that you have. So if you like, you know, have something you right now, we could turn this laser pointer into a nature unit if we wanted to. We don't have any reason to do that right now, but if you had a nature synergy you wanted to exploit in particular, you could do that. We also have the time diluter here. This actually is like kind of a tech unit where it's going to slow down really fast things on both sides. So if you're worried, you know, your opponent's going to be really fast, you want to slow them down, you can run these. But we're actually going to be really fast because of our assimilator. I'm going to take this out. Anytime you don't want a unit, you can just put it back in your inventory with a right click. And I think it's actually a risk for us to have that. We don't want to run that. So we're going to hopefully exploit speed better than our opponents. Exploit's an interesting word choice. You know what I mean? Take advantage of better. This opponent has a weapon that scales with defense. Like this bonfire is kind of getting surrounded by a bunch of defensive stuff to make it stronger. But we still, we have a really good build here. So we're putting in some work. More free stuff. Nice, dude. Our double warehouses here are doing a lot. This little blacksmith is going to give adjacent town units health when something attacks. So since this is attacking really fast, this might get a lot of health, which that's just kind of nice and free. We also got this Tether 2000. This, when you put it between weapons, this gives them 3% of each other's damage. So like this as a 200 damage unit, right? We can start feeding 6 damage extra into our assimilator every time this procs, every 3.5 seconds, which of course, when this is attacking much faster, that can be a way to accelerate your damage output really rapidly. This also starts to showcase a little bit more positioning intrigue, right? Like these are all things that rely on adjacency. So you start creating these little sort of positioning decisions in maps and so on, where things go really well. Like for instance, we could put the bonfire down here, right? And it would affect all 3 of these, but the difference is it would sort of split that acceleration of speed across the 3. We want to isolate it down to a single target, right? So we want to make sure it's kind of alone over here, only hitting our assimilator. So we're going to keep it that way. For now, we've got a really good weapon core here. So I think we're going to go for some big defense shop units. The proliferator here, this one's pretty cool. At both the start of combat and when it dies, it summons trees for you, which can just kind of clog up the opponent's weapons and really slow them down. Another tether. Yeah, we can run 2 of these. In fact, we could run 3 of these since these are each 3 wide, which is pretty rare. Most weapons are, you know, hard to get 3 across. Like this is only 2, so, you know, we couldn't do 3 there, but definitely something to keep in mind. So even more damage. I'm really happy with our weapons. We probably need a little bit more defense and a little bit more utility. Basically, your town usually segments into kind of 3 areas. Defense, sort of utility stuff in the middle, which is like a lot of town units, and then weapons very often in the back, although there are certainly reasons to deviate from that plan. This looks like another win to me, although they do have their own bonfire. I think theirs is not going to be as important and impactful as ours. And indeed, that's true. Nice. Let's go. We got another time diluter, which is not helpful. This sunrise flower, though, is pretty cool. Start of combat, adjacent defense units gain plus 10 health. So we kind of want this affecting as many defense units as we can. So putting something on each corner here is probably best. We actually don't want that one to have extra health, though, because it needs to die fast. So another just, you know, little positioning manipulations here all add up. Nature stuff is often kind of like, you know, we thought about like, you know, nature's kind of outside on the edge of town, you know, so that's like on the forefront, and then, you know, towns in the middle as a central core. Weapons and industry and stuff can kind of be in different little areas. Here, let's go ahead and take the big shop. Another proliferator seems okay. Yeah, curse bell is pretty cool. It does a lot of stunning, but the proliferator's really good and annoying. Upgrade. This is an enchantment shop. Let's take this. Firepower is great, extra damage, and second chance. Set its health to 1 so it doesn't die. That's kind of cool, but might actually just take a buffer that's a defensive play instead. So we'll put the buffer on our defense here, and we'll put the firepower on our key assimilator. Although it actually might be a slightly better play on the laser pointer, since 10% is just more significant. I actually don't know if the assimilator, if this goes off before or after its own start of combat effect. I don't know. You can actually move these anyway, so let's just put it there for now. But I don't know. I actually don't know that. I need to ask Ben how that one works. Corrupt Shaman, Beekeeper, or a Ruby. I guess we'll take a Ruby. Crystals are things that give these little buffs, but have some extra synergies. Like this gives adjacent weapons plus 3 damage, which isn't much, but when it's attacking that fast, it can kind of add up, honestly. So let's do that. Oh, this is going to be an easy win. They got a little bathhouse town here. I don't think we're going to keep this as a bathhouse, by the way. It's such an interesting choice. I don't know. Bathhouse is not something I would ever think of as an American, but maybe being a European, that's like a more common thing. I don't know. Oh, another latching spore, so even more lifesteal on our assimilator. That's cool. The Scola here is a unit that gives us extra health and damage as units in town proc. and trigger, but we don't have a lot of town units right now, so that's not doing much, to be honest with you. Ooh, tier 5 Tinker could be really good for us. We're gonna take this for sure. Oh, we missed. No, there's a really good unit we want on Tinker that's a little supercharger that doubles your start of combat effects, which this has that really powerful start of combat effect. So we missed it. No, we'll take the toy store. This is fine. We just might sell this later. This summons little temporary units, and we saw it earlier from the opponent, that just do a little damage and then die off. It's good sometimes for triggering other stuff, but for now, it's not really something we need. Ooh, we like bamboo a lot. Bamboo is very annoying and sticky and hard to deal with because when it's destroyed, it summons smaller bamboos, and just takes sometimes a lot of work for the opponent to push through it because it's so many different bodies in one, basically. Okay, this looks again very winnable to me. Geronimo's warehouses are generating us so much value at this stage. Like sometimes that's risky because you just take too much damage early, but we had such a powerful start on weapons that we were able to afford a little bit of that tempo sacrifice, and now we're turning the corner and generating so much value that it's starting to benefit us, you know, even more again. This is the power plant. This wording, by the way, is so long right now. We just rewrote this and kind of changed the text a little bit, but basically this wants to be next to Tinker units, which this and this are both Tinker units, and then it gives weapons +1 damage and makes town units faster, but only if you have enough town units, which currently we definitely don't. For now, we're going to keep buying bigger stuff because I'm looking for a supercharger in particular, this specific Tinker unit. Let's sell, though. Transmute here is really nice because we want to sell this. This is really expensive. We get 4 mana back for that. We get 3 mana back for this, which we don't need, and we get 3 mana back for this. We just saved a ton of mana. That gives us more time to look for the supercharger, so little economy. Here's the supercharger, the little battery that could. Okay, so that's a great hit. Now the supercharger is going to trigger adjacent start of combat effects again, which this gets damage based on that, and these latching spores give lifesteal based on that. So now all 3 of these units, because they're all adjacent to the supercharger, are going to benefit from a second trigger on the start of combat, which is going to make each of them, of course, way stronger. So now we can again kind of focus in more on defense because we just want to stay alive so that this weapon has time to go crazy. Basically, we're kind of protecting it now. Yeah, I think it's a little late maybe for another production shop. We've got, you know, we're already over halfway through the game. I think maybe just taking some small town units at this stage is fine, just little filler stuff, or defense units, basically either of those. Another time diluter. I need to sell these too. Bathhouse is useless. Community cauldrons, fine, I guess. These 2 things are just like magic units that don't really help us much right now. This one, when it gets health, gives a weapon +3 damage. This does give health to magic units, so it is going to give a weapon +3. Like, it's going to help, but it's just helping a little tiny bit. Not enough to feel really impactful. And there's another little crystal for us. The red crystals all buff attack, although you'll notice we had art of like multiple, sometimes for stuff that where there's like a lot of the units next to each other that are, like often crystals line up, a lot of them. We wanted to have different art so that you could roll into different versions of it so it didn't look too repeating. Same thing for the trees, actually. This won't show up, but the trees, there's different trees in the pool. It kind of rolls into a new tree. So if there's like 4 or 5 trees, we randomize the positioning a little bit and the look so they don't look exactly the same. Same thing for shrubs too. Not all units are going to have that because most of them aren't as likely to repeat, but for stuff where there's a lot of them together, usually we thought it made sense to have slight variations just to make it look a little prettier. Okay, here's the unit. Opponent's got a lot of town stuff. Look at that beautiful row of houses, dude. That's cool. This is very scary though. They have double Eternal Bonfire. We might lose. They also have Latching Spores. We might actually lose. They're doing a similar strategy right now. It's going to come down to a bit of a race. I don't know. It just depends on who has the better defense. I mean, we're off to a better start, it seems like, but they're catching up quick, dude. Oh my god, they're catching up quick. No, they have too many trees. So close. We get there. Oh, it was so close, though. Oh, yeah, ours did 13,000. There's 8,000. I wonder why mine was so much quicker. Maybe my damage just got higher because of the tethers. Maybe that made the difference because they had 2 bonfires. Like, theirs triggered way more. Yeah, theirs triggered 141 times. Mine only triggered 67 times. So I don't know if it's that I had more defensive stuff in the way or if my damage just scaled a little better. I don't know if their damage scaled enough, right? Like, we can take a look at their board and see, did they have a lot of damage scaling? No, they had none. No way to increase their damage. So, you know, we have extra health gain and extra damage off the supercharger and a little bit off our rubies and potentially some off power plant. They didn't have anything. No damage scaling. So what happened is theirs got really fast, but it probably wasn't killing my stuff quick enough. You know, my defense was big enough. Mine had like 2 or 3 times as much damage probably. So it was killing bigger stuff, getting it out of the way faster. So really interesting fight. Let's go for a transient here. Sell these time diluters finally. This is a mana machine. It also gives us one extra mana per turn, but it's so late now that like we would technically net an overall advantage because, you know, there's 6 rounds left. We'd gain 6. Right now I'm only selling it for 3, but that 3 now just also gets me units right now that can be worth a lot as well, right? So I think ultimately we like it this way better. This is the green crystal, the emerald. This gives health to adjacent units, which since that weapon's so important for us, I think that's probably right. Supercharger's a tier 4 unit. Yeah, so that's available in tier 4 shops. I don't know if I talked about this. Certainly the hovering probably indicated it. 5-cost shops have 4s and 5s. 4s have 3s and 4s. 3s have 2s and 3s, etc. down the line. 1s have 1s. So there is a chance to get a supercharger here, although there's only 3 choices. No supercharger. We did get the 3rd tether though, which is pretty wild. I don't think I've ever had 3 tethers on one pair of stuff before. That's pretty cool. Let's go big shop here. No supercharger, sadly, but we can go this Thanatos' altar. When an adjacent unit dies, resummon it with 10% of its base health. That actually works on the Eternal Bonfire because this kills itself off after 20 triggers of increasing our speed. We can actually get extra speed boost there. I don't actually know if it's worth it or not. Is this a structure? It is. Yeah, we can go for another supercharger. No luck there. Voodoo Totem is another one of our most powerful units though. So I'm gonna go ahead and take that Voodoo Totem, put it here next to some of this health gain. It loves health gain. It's really good with health gain. There's some cheesy combos you can do with it, which if we find them now, we might do. But it reflects damage back to weapons that hit it. So, oh, the opponent is doing some scary Voodoo Totem stuff too. Stuns as well, which is intriguing. Eternal Bonfire plus Dynamite turret's pretty spooky. They also have their own tethers here to buff this Tesla Coil, which is kind of an AoE weapon. This is a good build, but I think we might still beat it. I don't know. I think we're gonna get through this, to be honest. It's kind of scary though. I don't know. This took a lot of damage, but I think it's gonna start turning the corner. Yeah. It's like it ramps up slow, but then once it ramps, it really ramps. And it's also just gaining so much life. It's up to 2,000 health now, right? Normal weapons are like 200-300 health or whatever. It started gaining so much life stealing, gaining so much health that even if it gets down to where it's by itself, it can kind of start to solo stuff. The Dynamo here increases damage to a weapon when it triggers, which doesn't add up to a ton, but it's a little. Glowberries is kind of cool. When an adjacent unit triggers, it gives health to a defense unit, which, again, when this is triggering a lot, it's going to be a lot of health. Structure shop, another miss on the supercharger. No! Thanatos is on these trees is actually pretty cool as well here. Like if these trees die, we want to move those a little forward though, probably. Positioning management here, making sure our island is fully optimized. We want these dying early, right? And then we want, like we said, this wants to get health from this. This mushroom gives health. The Voodoo Totem's really good with health. The sunflower gives health. The trees give health. So there's a few reasons to put that there. This is also pretty good on this. This wants to be in the back. This also is really good next to that, honestly. So that kind of wants to be there as well. Yeah, maybe like this. All coming together. That there, this here, and this in the back, because this is the one you want to die last, basically, because it scales up as they attack. Simple shop, sure. We can take a mill for now. Why not? Mill just triggers other town units that you have and stuns an enemy town units. It can be a little disruptive. Emerald, honestly, yeah, we'll just put it on our assemblator to make sure it doesn't die to cheesy stuff. Although there is some cheesy stuff that can kill it for sure. Particularly the Voodoo Totem. This looks like a win to me, although this big tree can do some crazy healing stuff. So we'll have to see. These bees also, like, this is a really cool combo. You see how much health they're getting so fast. But I think our damage is just going to outpace it at some level. Yeah, it seems like that's true. Fatigue Wizard's going to pop up finally, I think. Yeah, there he is. Can we outlast? No, barely. Oh. 1 ruby and 1 stone Gorgon survives only. Oh my god. Yeah, they're beekeepers, dude. They gained they went off 364 times. That's cool. Gained 500 health each. My assimilator, though, gained 3,000 health from that lifesteal and dealt 17,000 damage. Their best weapon dealt 8,000, so you can see the difference, right? Let's take a cheap shop until we get a chance. Until we get a chance to hit that... Yeah, here. I want to hit more superchargers, basically. Oh, I cannot find a supercharger to save my life. That said, the Materia Contrarium here is very, 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 very good for us. I'll explain why in a brief moment. So this here, start of combat, destroy the units to the left and add their health and 10% of their damage to the unit on the right. So I'm going to have them destroy these 3 defense units, okay? Just going to wipe these out. Actually, I might use it on the proliferators, but I don't think so. Now, and then it's going to give their health to the Voodoo Totem. And the Voodoo Totem, because it reflects damage back to weapons, right? If you give it a ton of health, it can actually just solo the opponent's weapons in many cases. So this is one of our best combos right now. Again, probably one that needs a nerf. I think it's too good. But basically, you know, we can give this like 2,000 health or something. And then as a weapons attack it, even though it's taking double damage, it's still going to do enough on the reflect to often kill some weapons. Maybe not always, you know, 2 or 3, but maybe 1 or 2 key weapons could die early. And that gives us the time we need, even though we're sacrificing this health. It's a 1-for-1 exchange on the Voodoo Totem, sort of. It takes double damage, it's not exactly, but if it kills something, it's worth it for sure. So, depending on, yeah, opponent has 3 weapons here. This might kill the laser pointer in particular. So see, this goes up to 2,000 health plus. It's still scaling off that mushroom and stuff. And see, that laser pointer's dead. They all just, this killed 2 weapons already. Killed all 3 weapons, didn't even die. Like, are you kidding me? Although they have a ton of health scaling. We might still be in trouble, dude. Also, this guy's slowing us down. The time diluter. He's that debuff we talked about, right? He's slowing down my weapon. Thankfully, we have enough trees to outlast for the fatigue wizard anyway, so it's all good, man. The fatigue wizard clearing it out for us, thankfully. My town's getting kind of ugly, by the way. I generally have a prettier town than this. It's like at some level we don't this town stuff we have in the middle is just kind of not really that important for us right now. This is not a build where we need a lot of town stuff. So I don't think it's really doing too much. But you know, we can do a little better probably. Kind of running out of space a little bit, but looking for more superchargers. We got one. Oh my god. Okay, so now I need to think about positioning a little bit again, because I want to have superchargers hitting the latching spores as much as possible and the assimilator as much as possible, but I also still need the bonfire to be touching only the assimilator, right? And remember, adjacencies affect corner units, so I gotta kind of put it there where it's not cornering the tether. That's fine, but I also want that Thanatos is there. Yeah, that's fine, I guess. That's okay. These can go wherever now. That's fine. Health here. It can go here. Okay. Yeah, that's a decent little hit. Sure. We'll take the Fortune Teller. This is another just little health buff on magic units. Nothing fancy, but pretty cool. Yeah, this looks insane, dude. This is like the craziest little weapon fortress I've got here. The tether's all buffing it. This buffing its speed like crazy. Double superchargers buffing its both damage and the latching spores. This is probably the best weapon combo in the game right now. I just did a tier list and gave that tier S, you know, and the superchargers tier S. Opponent's got some scary bonfires themselves, though. Let's see. I think we're gonna be okay, but Voodoo Totem also at 2,000 health probably just farmed some stuff up here. Yeah, it killed a weapon. That's a really important move. Nice. Yeah, absolutely dominating. Yeah. We kind of have the 2 best combos right now, so and probably, like I said, probably a little overpowered combos at that. So I think we should be pretty good to go from here. Don't really need any of these. I'll just take a toy store as a little freebie damage, I guess. Tinker Shop could be another supercharger. It is not. It is another force field though, which I'm cool with that. More defense means more time for this guy to pop off. Uh-oh, we bugged it. Uh-oh. We have some bugs, guys, although they are so much better than they were a week ago, I'll tell you. We might have to redo that round. I don't know what happened there. I had an inventory bug. Something happened where it thought I had items in inventory, it said, but we definitely didn't. So I'm not so sure what happened on that. Let's come back in, though. I think we might have lost what we bought that round, but I think we should otherwise be fine. Yeah, we did. I don't even remember what we bought. Thankfully, it wasn't anything important anyway, but another voodoo or just another brick by brick? Probably another brick by brick at this stage. In fact, it can go here to make the voodoo even bigger because it gains even more health. I think, I actually don't know if that's true now. I don't know if this goes off before the contrarium because it's like start of combat's resolve like top, like left to right, top to bottom. I think since this is higher up on the, this is higher up, it might not work. I don't actually know. I think we maybe stick with this. I think that's fine. Just put this here for some extra defense. Big shop here. Glowberries again. Yeah, probably a bit better for sure than the dynamo. Buff our defense units a bunch. So yeah, still some bugs, of course, like not to be surprised at all, but I think it's a lot better than it was. We very rarely have as many complaints. The first few days where Ben was working a lot on bug fixes, which again, expected. We're not trying to hide the fact that it's a new game. You'll run into some bugs for sure, but hopefully not too many. And yeah, we are melting people right now. They did destroy our middle core a lot, man. They ate through our middle of our town, but look at all my beautiful trees. This kind of shows all the different trees, different color variations, different trunk widths, different leaf orientation. Pretty cool. It's on fire. None, by the way, these particle effects definitely not finished. But yeah, guys, we're down to the last couple rounds, and we are doing great. Just to be very clear. Cursed Bell is pretty cool. Yeah, this creates some stuns basically. Yeah, we can transmute. Let's get rid of this bathhouse. Get rid of this beekeeper. Whatever. Oh my god, yeah, we can get rid of more junk. We don't need this, we don't need this, we don't need this. Supercharger? Nope. It's less likely to get things as you get things, by the way, just to say that, like, you know, like, you know, if you get like 2 or 3 of a thing, it's less likely for it to show up in shops. We manipulate the RNG, so it's kind of like a shared pool in a regular auto battler that's full on live PvP, which this is asynchronous PvP. I don't even know if I mentioned that, but like these builds, they are probably people who are playing either right now or, you know, earlier today, just because we have enough people playing that, you know, the builds are recent, but they are not live. That's why you can take as long as we like. There's no rush. It's just, you know, it's, you know, if you need to step away and come back, you can. It's totally asynchronous. So you're completely free. You don't have to lock into a run at any given time. But we store the last 100 builds for each round and rank pool. So, you know, depending on how many players there are, that could be a day or two ago, but probably right now, these are all pretty recent. By the way, this is a crazy crystal build. They have all these crystals they've generated from crystal mines, and then these crystal cores make those all better, and then the supercharger makes the crystal cores better. This is pretty scary. This might get strong enough fast enough that it beats us, honestly. They also have the voodoo totem, contrarium thing that we have, so that might accidentally kill my weapon too fast. So yeah, we might lose this fight. I wasn't sure we were gonna lose again, but they have some crazy stuff going on, so it's pretty spooky. We lost our weapon, and we might be cooked. Although their weapons are also gone to our voodoo totem. So now it's going to be a fatigue race. Oh my god, nobody is doing damage. I love this. Is actually funny. Who wins on fatigue? I think I win with my trees, to be honest. Although they have a lot of crystals, so I don't know. Actually, no, I think they're going to win. It's really close. Everything's one shot, so it's actually kind of based on the number of units. It looks to me like they have too many crystals. Oh my god, it's so close. Wow, dude, so close. Good win by them, though. That was a good little build too. Another freaking supercharger. Are you kidding me? Oh my god, dude, the damage output on this is going to be so insane now. The question is, though, again, like, does it have enough health, right? That's the issue. Another post office, more defense for us to fill in some gaps here. Bada boom, whatever. Yeah, final fight. I mean, 13 trophies is already an insane result. Like, that's a crazy great result. This is clearly one of the most powerful things you can do in the game right now. So, more voodoo totem cheese. Similar setup with the assimilator as well, although they're actually juicing this dynamite turret, which is good at shredding defenses specifically. Yeah, this is another, like, as you get to round 16, by the way, you're fighting other people who made it to round 16, so you're going to get really good builds at the end. It's just about little optimizations and stuff. I'm hopeful our proliferator cheese with all the trees gets us an advantage here, because I feel like this could be another one that just goes to fatigue a little bit. We hopefully have enough trees that does the job. I mean, our weapons didn't die. Like, I guess we got enough health fast enough that they didn't die. Yeah, I think we attacked some other things first. We're definitely gonna win then. Like, look at the health on this, by the way. It's already at 10k, dude. Wait, no, 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 no. They just, nothing ever died. Bro, the fatigue wizard came in and just melted us. I guess they saw their dynamite turret too doing, oh yeah, it also had crazy, it was 0.13 and 9832. Yeah, so that actually, that's what happened. That shredded our defensive units, right? It actually did so much more damage. Look at that. Oh my God. It shredded all of my defensive units, attacking crazy fast, crazy high damage. So I didn't have anything left when Fatigue Wizard popped up. So Fatigue Wizard just started melting me. Dude, my assimilator gained 12,000 health, by the way. My trees we're also gaining a ton of health, but the way we just made a change to the Fatigue Wizard, so it's like crazy high damage really fast now. So it doesn't really matter if you gain a ton of health. It's more about unit count, which I think we might have to pull that back a little bit, by the way. Like, we don't want you to just win only because you had the most stuff. Sometimes having more health should be more important than having more stuff. So we got to be careful with that, but really good build from the opponent too. So anyway, that's considered a victory. We survived all 16 rounds. 13 wins is insane. A ton of rating change gain there. 87's a lot of gain. That's gonna put me, I don't know, top 50, maybe top 24, top 25 right now on the leaderboard. I was over 1,000 a couple days ago, but you know, I gotta test stuff. I'm gonna blame that. I gotta test stuff. So yeah, yeah, that's a run of SkyShard, man. Saw some great powerful stuff. You saw some cool positioning. You saw some fun, interesting builds from the opponent. I hope that showcased the game pretty well. I think it did. You saw a lot of different little mechanics and cool things and some fun fights and some dramatic moments. So yeah, embark on your own journey of SkyShard. Like I said, links down below to go play the game right now. It's totally free for right now. Eventually we're going to charge $12, and that should be all we ever need to charge, and still, by the way, add new content and stuff. Like, guys, it's the way we've built this game is incredibly low to the ground, low budget. Again, it has basically just been working full-time and contract work. Like, you know, a lot of games they aim so high and they go for such crazy levels of polish and like and support and, like, you know, management and all of this stuff that just, it snowballs out of control, and they need millions of dollars to keep the game running. We've gone the exact opposite approach. Everything as low budget and affordable as possible. Like, yes, of course, our production values are going to be different. Like, the game's not going to look or sound quite as polished or cool as a $5 million game, a $20 million game, whatever, right? Which some auto battlers have spent $20 million making their game, and they look great. Like, don't get me wrong. It's just not what we're about. It's just not what we're going to be. We wanted it to be manageable, feasible, supportable, long-term, with a low budget. So it doesn't have to have 50,000 players to succeed. It needs 50 players to succeed. And right now we're getting about 400 or 500 a day, which is really cool. So anyway, yeah, that's SkyShard. Thanks for watching. If you hadn't seen this full look yet, hopefully that showed you what it's all about. Appreciate wish lists so much. Appreciate feedback so much. Any thoughts are welcome as we just keep trying to make this cooler and better. So thank you all a ton. Good luck out there in the world of Hearthstone and SkyShard. Thanks as always for watching. And until next time, game on.